Thanks, Emma. Time for Futures in Focus now. Saudi Arabia has a new oil minister. Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman is the kingdom's first royal energy minister. He says there won't be any radical changes in oil policy, and the market is focused on negative sentiments.
It's not about demand rising or not rising. I think the market now is driven by negative sentiments emanating from negative views. But I don't believe that the demand has been impacted.
Let's talk about this some more. Joining us now from the CME, Bob Iaccino, joining us from Path Trading Partners. Bob, we got a change at the top when it comes to OPEC. Is this going to make a difference?
Good morning, Guy. Not in the very short term. He handled his first press conference pretty well with some calming words about status quo type of behavior. Khalil al-Falid was very well known in the oil markets, very calm in his speech. He was never overly boisterous with rhetoric, so he was a calming force amongst OPEC. However, I don't think there's going to be any small change. The only thing I see is maybe a little bit of a perception that the relationship between the U.S. president and the current leaders in Saudi Arabia might be a little bit more cozy, and maybe the president will have a tiny bit more influence on oil prices, but we're certainly not trading it that way.
Bob, bond yields around the world have backed up massively over the last few days. We're trading kind of 162 on a U.S. 10-year. What do you make of this move and the pace of it?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think looking at that combined with copper, combined with that's where most of the bid in crude oil is coming from, is that the market's perceiving that things are actually going forward in the trade talks, which we're not hearing a lot of rhetoric of, but we're hearing some pretty positive statements now. Things like meaningful progress was mentioned earlier this morning when I was watching Bloomberg. Great steps towards some sort of a deal. And I think the market's seeing it that way. The probability from the CME Fed Watch tool of a 50 basis point rate cut by the U.S. Fed has pretty much fallen off the table. There's now about a 6% chance of nothing at the September meeting, which is not going to happen. There's going to be 25 basis points. So the market is moving a lot more quickly than we would have expected. That makes me a tiny bit nervous, but you're being as close as we are to the all-time highs in stocks has to be noticed.
Any thoughts on Draghi? What do we get from the ECB this week?
I don't know if the pressure is going to get to Mario Draghi. One of his final rate decisions as the head of the ECB, Christine Lagarde, said she's basically going to leave things in place. It's interesting to see how many people at this stage, as sort of a lame duck head of the ECB, have come under or have come above him to try and pressure him out of overly dovish reactions and stimulus, and QE especially. I don't expect to see the QE restart, and I think that's part of the move in yields.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating Thursday. Bob, thanks very much indeed. Bob Iaccino joining us from Path Trading Partners. Bonnie.
Coming up, Mark Redman, Omer's global head of private equity, joins us. You don't want to miss that. That is at the top of the hour. This is Bloomberg.